Hi, and welcome to our panel discussion about the future of operations for communication service providers. Operational costs. At the moment, a lot of the new technology is actually, if anything, intending to increase operational cost. Virtualization, for example, rather than reducing it. What are the key, Andy, what are the key things you think that we need to be looking at in terms of reducing that operational cost?
I mean, I guess you need to look at it holistically. So you're looking across people, processes, technology. Where can you cut costs out of your business? There's some obvious areas that you can address. There's some, quite traditional ways that we do things. If you take drive testing as an example, it's a bit of an anachronism, the idea that you send an engineer out in a car to drive around and measure the performance of the network. And operators could be spending millions on that. So there's some quick wins. We spoke earlier on a little bit about processes. I mean, these processes have built up over a number of years. You can go back and re-examine those processes, look at things like Lean and Haysom, if you can apply those to bring in efficiencies. But I think for me, it's about being holistic in the way that you address it, and also not just focusing on costs. I think that's only one side of the equation. You need to look at the value creation as well, probably.
Maybe from a tools perspective, I think also giving us a reference of how actually the cost could actually go up rather than go down would be to look at slicing as a good example, because just to configure every single element required in the network, define the workflows to orchestrate it, it is a big process. So imagine hundreds of configurations to be made per slice, multiply that by thousands or 10,000s of slices running at any time, managed in a dynamic environment across vendors. That possibly cannot be a human task unless there is automation and machine learning natively built in these tools. We will never be able to do it. And actually, Bell Labs has come out with this research saying that actually your operational cost would go up by about 30%. And was, as Andy rightly said, augmented intelligence, where the resources have the sense of the physical landscape that needs to be brought in together with machine learning.
The skills issues as well, right? I mean, it's still, as you say, it comes back to people issues as well that need to be addressed. And I think it's important that you need to balance that outcome. What are you really trying to achieve, and focus the input and the necessary tools in the places that are going to drive the fundamentals of that business change. And I think that's really critical.
Rodrigo, in terms of operational cost, it would appear that the challenges will actually mean operational cost goes up in security. What are the key things that need to be addressed in terms of actually making security operationally effective?
One of the things we have been always discussing here is actually the increase of everything. So the network size is increasing, the bandwidth is increasing. The only thing which is decreasing is the latency, right? Otherwise, everything is increasing. Yeah. There is another thing which is likely not increasing, which is the size of the security team. So how can they cope with all these increases? They need to have tools that make smart analytics. So we can actually train an artificial intelligence system so that it monitors some parameters. Then occasionally vulnerabilities happen, attacks happen. If the artificial intelligence system has access to all the parameters that it's monitoring and knows when the attacks are happening, after a while it will be able to identify new attacks or to identify when these attacks are happening, and then expose this. You can imagine the exponential rise on the alarms if we don't find a way to reduce them and make them smarter.
To explore the operations discussion in more detail, take a look at our expert interviews. Thanks for watching. Don't miss our next episode in the series.